Hey guys, welcome back everyone. In today's video, we are going to check out how to play the fried liver attack opening with the white pieces, and we are also going to check out how to play against the fried liver attack. So it is a very aggressive opening, so if you like to play aggressive, this video is going to be perfect for you. And before I start, I want to just make sure that I was not really uploading any video for the past 2 to 3 days because I was just playing a chess tournament, a local chess tournament, as you can see the trophy over here. So yeah, here I came first in the tournament, so I'm pretty happy. So yeah, so that's the reason I was not really uploading any videos. So yeah, but I'm back now, so we can upload. So yeah, so let's quickly jump into the video. So we are playing with the white pieces, and we open up the game with 1 e4, pushing up the pawn in the center, trying to control the center. Opponent plays e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, all pretty standard, developing the horses, the knights, and controlling the center. Bishop to c4, also developing the pieces, and here black plays the move knight to f6. A pretty reasonable response. Black usually also plays bishop c5, which already goes into a different territory. Today we are going to focus on knight to f6. After knight f6, now there are many ways to continue the position. c3, d3 short castle, many ways. But we are going to play the move knight to g5. And this is also known as the fried liver attack. What's happening? What is the idea? So here, white is simply attacking the f7 pawn. So here, black is only having one move to defend it, which is to play the move d5. Attacking the bishop and the pawn, we take, and here black is like, if you're a beginner and if you're playing against a beginner, your opponent is definitely going to capture the pawn, which is already a blunder. Okay, so here first today we are going to talk about knight into d5. So after knight to d5, we are now going to play the move knight into f7, sacrificing the knight, attacking the queen and the rook. The king is forced to capture the knight, and now we are going to play the move queen to f3, and that's a check. And the knight is also hanging. So now black is having a couple of ways to move the king. First of all, if the king goes back to g8, trying to hide himself, now we can already take on d5 with a check. The bishop has to come in between, and that's the mate. Game is over. So going back a bit, for example, if black goes back with the king to the original place where the king came from. After king e8, we can already capture the knight, and the position is already better for white because white is the first of all a pawn up. Black king can't really castle. White is going to quickly castle and open up the center, or turning apart the king, and white is completely winning. So here the main move for black to fight in the game is to play the move king to e6. Black is trying to defend the knight with the king and the queen. Now we are going to play the move knight to c3, attacking the knight on d5. So here black is already having two ways to defend the knight. He can either go for playing knight to e7, or he can go for playing the move knight to b4. So first of all, if black plays knight to b4, defending the knight and also trying to attack the pawn, giving a check. So here first we are going to short castle, safeguarding a king. Black plays the move c6, trying to defend the knight, and now we are going to play the move d4. Why? First of all, we have already sacrificed a piece. Second, the only asset now we are having in this position is black's weak king. So the only hope for us to win this game is to attack the black king. That's it. So that's why we are not really playing, we are not playing according to the material, but we are playing according to the position. We are trying to sacrifice our pieces to open up the black king. So after d4, our idea is to first of all take the pawn. So for example, if black goes for capturing the pawn, now as our bishop has also opened up, now we are going to get a rook, giving a check. The king falls back, and now we are going to simply take on d5, everything. Queen to d5, that's a check. And here, if the king goes to f7, bishop f4 is literally game over. So going back a bit, bishop d6, trying to defend the checkmate. We are going to play the move bishop to g5. What is the idea? We attack the queen. Now the bishop is defended by the queen. So the queen has to move. The queen is not really having many squares, but to go on c7. After queen c7, we can already jump in with our rook, giving a rook to e7, and that's a check. And the bishop can't really capture the rook because the bishop is already pinned. The king cannot capture the rook because the rook is defended by the bishop. The king is forced to move, and now we can simply capture the queen. And that's winning because we have already won a queen. The game is over. So going back, that's why knight b4 is not really working up. So here, for example, if the knight goes to e7, defending the knight, after knight to e7, now we are going to play the move d4, striking in the center once again. So now, not really castling up because now there is no threat of knight into c2, but now we are simply going to open up the position with d4. So after d4, now black is having two ways. Black can either go for capturing the pawn on d4 or he can go for playing c6, defending the knight. For example, if black goes for playing the move e into d4, capturing the material. Now we are going to take on d5, and now we are going to play the move bishop to f4. Our idea here is we are simply developing the pieces, and now our idea is to simply do a long castle, get another rook to e1, and launch a terrifying attack to the black king. And to be true, black can't really defend. So for example, after bishop f4, black tries to play, like black is having two ways. Black can go for playing c6, defending the knight, or black can go for bishop b4, direct check. So for example, if black plays c6, defending the knight, we are going to make a long castle, attacking the pawn now, queen to f6, because that's the only move that makes some sense according to me, because you want to hide your king. Okay, so you can't play direct the king because bishop g5 is a check and you lose the queen. So that's why first queen f6, and now you can safeguard your king. But now rook e1 check, the king goes to f7, and now we are going to take on d4. So now, as you guys can see, now white has got all his pieces into the game, though white is already a piece down. So after rook into d4, our rook is actually hanging, but the point here is black can't take it because of bishop to e5 check, and white will win the queen and the game. So going back a bit, black can't capture the rook, so black has to play bishop to e6, trying to defend the knight, or else our idea is already to sacrifice the rook and checkmate the black king. So bishop e6 trying to defend the knight, but it doesn't really matter. We are still going to trade everything on d5, giving a check. The king is forced to go on g6, and now simply rook to e6 comes into the game, attacking the queen and the king. Black has to sacrifice the queen, and it doesn't really matter because the king is already getting checkmated. The game is over. So that's exactly how you can simply beat black by if black pushes the pawn to c6. If black goes for playing the move bishop to b4 check, a direct check. Now we play the move c3, attacking the bishop and the pawn. The pawn captures the pawn, and now we are simply going to short castle. Why? Our idea here is to simply first safeguard our king, and now we are going to jump into the black king with our pieces. So for example, after short castle, black tries to capture another pawn on b2. Now we are going to capture on d5, giving a check. Queen into d5, the fourth move, and now rook to e1 check. The bishop can capture the rook, we take it back, the king have to move. And the point here is now it's a check, and you can't really defend the queen now because the bishop is already covering every square. So the king is forced to go, and now we can simply capture the queen. And the game is over, that's it. Because now we are already having a queen for only a rook. And obviously this pawn is not really going to become a queen. We can already give a check and capture the pawn, and eventually the position is completely winning for white, that's it. So that's exactly how you can play this position if your opponent goes for capturing the d4 pawn. If your opponent first plays the move c6 in the position, now we are going to first take on e5. For example, if black tries to play b6 with the idea of maybe developing his pieces, though it's not really working up, because now we are going to get a bishop now into the game first. Now getting our knight. So you can see how we are playing. We are getting all our pieces. We are not playing according to the material, but according to the position. Getting maximum pieces and try to checkmate the black king. Now king goes back trying to hide himself. Long castle. Now we have got our rook into the game as well. The king tries to hide himself, but now queen to g3. With the idea of pushing up the pawn, and it's literally game over. So for example, if h6 attacking the bishop, we push the pawn, give a check. The king is forced to go on the c8 square, that's the only square, and now knight to g6 check, and the game is eventually over. Why? Because first of all, if you try to capture with the queen, I can capture the queen back, and that's winning. And if you move the king anyway, I can play knight c7. That's the check, and you also lose the queen at the same time. The game is over. You're losing once again the queen and the game. So that's exactly how you can play the fried lever attack, to simply destroy your opponent in a couple of moves pretty easily. So this is how you can easily play the fried lever attack. So now let's quickly jump on how to play against the fried lever attack. Okay, so now discussing how to play against the fried lever attack. So we are playing with the black pieces. White starts with 1 e4, we play e5, knight f3, knight c6. Bishop c4, we are going to play knight to f6. The knight jumps into g5, attacking the f7 pawn. We are going to play d5, attack the pawn and bishop. The pawn captures it back, and now we are going to play the move not knight into d5, but we are going to play the move knight to a5, attacking the bishop. Now white is like, okay, I'm a pawn up, let me give a check. Let me give a check to the black king. And here the main move for all the theoreticians who knows the theory will think, okay, c6 is the main move. Yeah, definitely it's a main move, but if you want to keep the position simple, even for beginners, I would say just play bishop d7, that's it. Why? What's happening? First of all, you are trying to develop your pieces, as white has already made couple of waste moves like this. So now you're going to play bishop d7, attacking the bishop, and here white's having two options, either to go for capturing the bishop or to defend the bishop with queen e2. So for example, if white tries to defend the bishop via queen e2, we play bishop e7, simply focusing on developing our pieces. What's the idea? First of all, you can't take on e5 because the bishop is hanging. So if you want to take on e5, first you have to take on d7, queen d7, and now queen e5. So white is like, okay, now my 2 pawns up, and that should be at least better for me. But now we are simply going to take up to the first pawn on d5 with the idea of playing f6, attacking the knight and the queen, which is winning for black. So black have to, black is having two options. For example, if white short castle, f6 is winning a piece. So if white tries to go back with the knight, we play knight c6, coming back with the knight because the knight on a5 was not really doing anything. Now attacking the queen falls back, but now knight f4, attacking the queen as well. The queen goes back to f1 and simply short castle. And the position is already better for black. Why? Because first of all, black has developed all his pieces, though black is a pawn down, whereas white has developed none of his pieces. The king is still in the center. We can play rook e8, move the bishop, turn apart the king, and the game is completely winning for black. It's very easy to play with the black pieces. So going back a bit, that's why queen e2 is kind of not the best. And if your opponent is seeing this position for the first time, he's definitely going to capture the bishop. We capture the bishop back with the queen. And now white is having two options. He can open up the position via d4, or he can simply go for short castling the position. For example, if he goes for first playing d4, after d4, we take on d5, takes, and now we take the pawn and give a check. So here white is not really having much to do but to play queen e2. We are happy to trade off the queens, and now bishop c5. The position is at least better for black. Material is even. White king cannot castle. We can castle up, get our pieces into the game via rook e8, giving a check. Our pieces are much more developed compared to the white pieces, and for at least we are better in the endgame. We can't lose this if you don't obviously make horrible mistakes like blundering a pawn on the piece. So that's how you can play. If your opponent plays d4, if your opponent goes for short castling up in the position, now we can long castle in the position, which is actually one of my favorite variation to be true. Because after long castle, what's our idea? For example, white simply develops f9. We take on d5, we have a trade on d5, and how can we continue the position? So this is the position. So after queen into d5, first of all, both the sides have castled opposite side. So how can we play the position? So after queen into d5, our idea is to already attack on the white king by playing f6, first attacking the knight, g5, h5, h4, g4, maybe getting our bishop to c5, putting some pressure on this particular diagonal, getting the d-rook on the g8 square, and launching a powerful attack with the g3 strike. And believe me or not, it's pretty easy to play with the black pieces, and you're going to love a lot by playing this particular position and opening. So yeah, that's it for this particular opening. I think we have covered how to play the fried lever attack, and we have also covered how to play against the fried lever attack. So yeah, this is the perfect video, I think. I hope that this video might have helped you to increase your chess understanding and knowledge. If it did, make sure to like the video, share this video with everyone, and make sure to follow and subscribe to our channel, OneShot Chess. And you guys can tell me in the comment box below on which topic do you want any particular video on, and I'm going to come up with that particular video. So I'm going to see you soon, so chill then, bye bye, sayonara.